The alien fleet arrived without warning, their massive ships appearing suddenly in Earth's orbit like dark shadows blotting out the sun. Humanity had known this day might come ever since astronomers first spotted strange signals coming from Proxima Centauri years ago. But no one expected it to happen so soon, or with such arrogance. The aliens didn't waste time sending messages of peace or curiosity. Instead, a towering insectoid creature named Zixer-7 stepped forward as their leader and broadcast his demands across every television, radio, and screen on Earth. "Your planet is now ours," he declared in a cold, mechanical voice that sent chills down spines worldwide. "Surrender immediately, or face total destruction." People froze in fear, watching helplessly as the enormous ships hovered above cities, oceans, and deserts. Some tried to run, others prayed, but most simply stared up at the sky, unable to believe what was happening. Governments scrambled to respond, calling emergency meetings and activating defense protocols. But deep beneath the Nevada desert, far away from public view, something extraordinary was already in motion. Captain Rachel Monroe sat in the command chair aboard the Eclipse Asterisk, humanity's greatest secret weapon. She was calm, her sharp blue eyes scanning the screens around her as she processed the situation. Beside her stood Lieutenant Daniel Hayes, a young but skilled officer whose hands hovered anxiously over the ship's controls. The Eclipse Asterisk wasn't just any warship, it was invisible. Advanced cloaking technology made it undetectable by even the most sophisticated alien sensors. For years, humanity had poured all its resources into building this single vessel, knowing it might be their only chance against an advanced enemy. Rachel leaned back slightly, folding her arms as she listened to Zixer-7's ultimatum play out on the main monitor. Her expression was unreadable, but inside, her mind raced. "They're cocky," she finally said, breaking the tense silence. "And they think we're weak." Daniel nodded slowly, glancing at her. "What do we do, Captain?" "For now," Rachel replied, her tone firm yet measured. "Nothing. Let them think they've won. Let them make mistakes." She turned toward the rest of the crew, who were busy monitoring the alien fleet's movements. "We wait. Patience will win this fight, not rushing in blindly." Hours passed, and the aliens began to act. Massive beams of energy shot down from their ships, striking cities and military bases across the globe. Explosions lit up the horizon, and smoke filled the air. Panic spread like wildfire among the population. Yet high above the chaos, the Eclipse Asterisk remained hidden, watching silently as the invaders wreaked havoc. Rachel felt a pang of guilt seeing the destruction below, but she knew acting too soon would ruin everything. The aliens had numbers on their side, hundreds of ships compared to humanity's one. If the Eclipse Asterisk revealed itself prematurely, it would be overwhelmed. No, they needed to strike when the moment was right, when the aliens least expected it. As night fell, Rachel stood near the viewport, gazing at the glowing wreckage of Earth's surface. Behind her, Daniel approached cautiously. "Do you really think we can win this, Captain?" he asked, his voice tinged with doubt. Rachel didn't answer right away. She just stared out at the stars, her jaw tightening. Then, after a long pause, she spoke. "We have to," she said simply, "because if we don't, there won't be anything left worth fighting for." While world leaders argued over how to respond to the alien invasion, Captain Rachel Monroe and her crew aboard the Eclipse Asterisk stayed quiet. The ship remained cloaked, invisible to the aliens who continued their relentless assault on Earth. Cities burned, forests were reduced to ash, and oceans boiled under the intense energy weapons of the alien fleet. Yet, the Eclipse Asterisk did nothing. It simply watched, waiting for the perfect moment to act. Rachel knew that patience was their greatest weapon. She had spent years training for this moment, studying tactics and preparing for the worst-case scenario. The aliens, however, seemed to underestimate humanity entirely. They moved with confidence, almost lazily, as if they believed no one would dare challenge them. Zixer 7's broadcasts grew more frequent, each message filled with arrogance. "Your resistance is futile," he declared during one transmission. "Surrender now, or watch your planet burn." But Rachel wasn't listening to his words. She was watching his actions. Every movement of the alien ships, every attack pattern, every signal they sent, it all told her something. Lieutenant Daniel Hayes sat at his station, analyzing data streams and feeding information to Rachel. "They're spread thin," he reported one evening. "Their ships are scattered across multiple continents, trying to cover too much ground." Rachel nodded thoughtfully. "Good," she said. "That means they're not working together as a unit. Arrogance always leads to mistakes." She turned to Emma Carter, the ship's communications officer. "Keep monitoring their transmissions. I want to know everything they say, even if it seems unimportant." For days, the Eclipse remained hidden, its crew working tirelessly to gather intelligence. Rachel walked among them, offering encouragement when needed but mostly letting them focus. She trusted her team completely. Each member had been handpicked for their skills and dedication. They were ready for whatever came next. Meanwhile, the aliens grew bolder. Their attacks became more frequent and devastating. Entire towns were wiped off the map, leaving behind only craters and smoke. Survivors huddled in underground bunkers, praying for salvation. Some began to lose hope, believing Earth was doomed. But rumors started to spread, whispers of an invisible warship that could turn the tide of the battle. No one knew if it was true, but the idea gave people something to cling to. Rachel heard about these rumors through intercepted communications. She didn't comment on them, but a small smile crossed her face when she overheard Daniel mention it. "Do you think they're talking about us?" he asked. "Maybe," Rachel replied, her tone neutral. "But we're not here to be legends. We're here to win." She paused, then added, "And we will win. Just not yet." Finally, after nearly 2 weeks of careful observation, Rachel decided it was time to act. She called her senior officers to the command center for a briefing. "We've waited long enough," she told them. "The aliens are overconfident. They think they've already won. It's time to show them they're wrong." Daniel leaned forward, his eyes wide with anticipation. "What's the plan, Captain?" Rachel pointed to a holographic display showing the positions of the alien ships. "We hit them where it hurts most, their command structure. Take out one of their key vessels, and the rest will fall into disarray. And we do it without giving away our position." Emma raised her hand hesitantly. "What if they figure out we're here? What if they find us?" "They won't," Rachel said firmly, "because by the time they realize what's happening, it'll be too late." The crew exchanged glances, a mix of excitement and nervousness in the air. They had trained for this moment, but nothing could fully prepare them for what lay ahead. As Rachel dismissed the meeting, she took a deep breath and reminded herself why they were fighting. This wasn't just about survival. It was about proving that humanity wouldn't go down without a fight. The Eclipse's engines hummed softly as it prepared to make its first move. For now, it was still invisible, a ghost in the darkness of space. But soon, the entire galaxy would know its name. The night was calm aboard the Eclipse, but tension filled the air. Captain Rachel Monroe stood at the center of the command deck, her eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the alien fleet's positions. She had chosen her target carefully, a large command ship near the edge of the formation. It wasn't the biggest or most heavily guarded vessel, but it was important. The data suggested it served as a communication hub for the aliens, relaying orders to other ships. Taking it out would disrupt their chain of command and sow confusion. "Are we ready?" Rachel asked, glancing at Lieutenant Daniel Hayes. He nodded quickly, his fingers flying over the control panel. "Weapons are locked, cloaking systems are stable, and propulsion is at optimal levels," he replied. His voice was steady, though his hands betrayed his nerves. Rachel turned to Emma Carter, the communications officer. Any sign they detected us? Emma shook her head. Nothing yet. Their sensors still haven't picked up our presence. Good, Rachel said. Then she raised her voice so the entire crew could hear her. This is it, everyone. We strike fast and hard. Once we decloak, we'll have less than 30 seconds before they realize what's happening. Stay sharp. The crew responded with quiet determination, their focus absolute. For weeks, they had waited, watching the aliens devastate Earth without retaliation. Now, finally, it was their turn to fight back. Rachel gave the order. Decloak in 5, 4, 3, 2. The *Eclipse* shimmered into view directly above the alien command ship, its sleek metallic hull glowing faintly under the light of the distant sun. The aliens didn't react immediately. Shock froze them for a precious few moments. Then alarms blared across their fleet, and chaos erupted. Fire, Rachel commanded. The *Eclipse* unleashed a barrage of plasma torpedoes, each one striking with devastating precision. Bright flashes lit up space as explosions tore through the alien ship's hull. Within seconds, the massive vessel broke apart, debris tumbling into the void. The aliens scrambled, their transmissions filled with panic and confusion. What is that? Where did it come from? An alien voice shouted over intercepted comms. Emma translated the frantic messages in real time, her voice tense but excited. They're trying to figure out what hit them. Some are saying it's a ghost ship. Rachel allowed herself a small smile. Let them think that, she muttered. Cloak us again. Daniel worked quickly, reactivating the *Eclipse*'s invisibility just as the first wave of alien fighters approached. By the time they arrived, the human warship was gone, leaving behind only destruction. The enemy ships fired blindly into empty space, their weapons missing their mark completely. On board the *Eclipse*, the crew erupted into cheers. They had done it. Their first successful strike against the invaders. But Rachel silenced them with a raised hand. This isn't over, she reminded them. We've made them doubt themselves, but they'll recover. And when they do, they'll be angrier than ever. She walked over to the viewport, staring out at the wreckage floating silently in the darkness. Pieces of the destroyed alien ship drifted past, glinting like stars. For now, though, she added softly, we've sent a message. Humanity isn't going down without a fight. Daniel joined her, his earlier nervousness replaced by pride. Do you think they'll figure out it was us? That we're still out here? They will eventually, Rachel admitted. But by then, we'll have hit them again. And again. Until they realize they've made a big mistake coming here. As the *Eclipse* moved silently away from the scene, its crew prepared for their next move. The aliens thought they were untouchable, but they had underestimated humanity. One strike had already shaken their confidence. Now, Rachel planned to shatter it completely. The destruction of the alien command ship sent shockwaves through their fleet, both literally and figuratively. Sixer-7 was furious. His towering insectoid frame trembled with rage as he paced the bridge of his flagship, barking orders at subordinates who scrambled to make sense of what had happened. The transmissions from the destroyed vessel had cut off abruptly, leaving behind only static and unanswered questions. What had attacked them? Where had it come from? And why hadn't their sensors detected anything? For the first time since arriving in Earth's orbit, fear began to creep into the minds of the invaders. Rumors spread like wildfire among the alien ranks. Some claimed they had been hit by an ancient weapon left behind by a long-dead civilization. Others whispered about ghosts or vengeful spirits haunting the stars. Even Sixer-7, for all his arrogance, couldn't ignore the unease growing within his own crew. On board the *Eclipse*, Captain Rachel Monroe watched the chaos unfold with quiet satisfaction. Emma Carter monitored the intercepted alien communications, translating fragments of panicked conversations into English for the rest of the crew. They're blaming each other, Emma reported, her voice tinged with amusement. "Some are saying it's sabotage, others think it's a malfunction. No one knows what really happened." Rachel nodded, leaning back in her chair. "Good. Let them turn on each other. The more divided they are, the easier they'll be to take down." Lieutenant Daniel Hayes glanced up from his station. "Do you think they'll figure out it was us eventually?" "They will," Rachel replied without hesitation. "But right now, they're scared. Scared people and aliens make mistakes. We'll use that to our advantage." As the hours passed, the effects of the attack became clear. Alien ships began pulling back from their assaults on Earth, regrouping in tighter formations as if trying to protect themselves from another invisible threat. Survivors on the planet noticed the change immediately. Cities that had been under constant bombardment suddenly fell silent. Refugees hiding in underground bunkers dared to peek outside, wondering if the nightmare was finally over. It wasn't, of course. The Eclipse was still out there, watching and waiting. Rachel ordered her crew to stay vigilant, knowing the aliens would soon try to retaliate. But for now, humanity had a brief moment to catch its breath and to hope. Back on Earth, news of the mysterious attack spread rapidly. People didn't know who or what had struck the aliens, but they celebrated anyway. In shattered cities and crowded shelters, survivors raised makeshift banners bearing messages of defiance. "We're still here, and Earth fights back." For the first time since the invasion began, there was a glimmer of hope. Rachel saw footage of these celebrations during a quick scan of Earth's broadcasts. She felt a pang of pride, but quickly pushed it aside. There was no room for complacency, not when so much was still at stake. "This isn't victory," she reminded her crew during a brief meeting. "It's just the beginning. We've made them afraid, but fear won't stop them forever." Daniel nodded thoughtfully. "What's next, Captain?" Rachel turned to the holographic display, showing the current positions of the alien fleet. "We keep hitting them where it hurts most. Command ships, supply lines, anything that weakens their ability to fight. But we have to be smart about it. Every move we make has to count." Emma spoke up hesitantly. "What if they find us? What if they manage to track us down?" "They won't," Rachel said firmly. "Not as long as we stay ahead of them. They're predictable, Emma. They follow patterns. Once you understand those patterns, you can exploit them." The crew exchanged determined looks. They trusted Rachel completely, and her confidence inspired them to push forward despite the danger. As the meeting ended, Rachel returned to the viewport, gazing out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the aliens were planning their next move, but so was she. "One strike at a time," Rachel whispered to herself. "We'll wear them down until they have nothing left." Captain Rachel Monroe had a plan, and it was as bold as it was risky. The aliens were already on edge after the destruction of their command ship, their once coordinated fleet now scattered and disorganized. But Rachel knew fear alone wouldn't be enough to break them. She needed to push them further, to make them question not just humanity's strength, but their own sanity. "We're going to mess with their heads," Rachel announced during a briefing with her senior officers. "They think they're dealing with some kind of ghost ship. Let's give them exactly what they're expecting." Lieutenant Daniel Hayes raised an eyebrow. "You mean illusions?" "Exactly," Rachel replied. "Emma, I want you to program our drones with holographic projectors. We'll project images of monstrous creatures attacking their ships. Make it look real. Scare them into making mistakes." Emma Carter hesitated for a moment. "What if they figure out it's fake? What if they trace the signal back to us?" "They won't," Rachel said confidently. "By the time they realize it's a trick, we'll be long gone. And even if they do suspect something, it won't matter. The damage will already be done." The crew got to work immediately, programming the drones to create terrifying illusions. Giant serpents coiled around alien vessels, their glowing eyes piercing through the darkness of space. Shadowy figures with claws and fangs clawed at the hulls of ships, leaving deep gashes that didn't actually exist. The drones moved silently, projecting these horrifying visions before slipping away undetected. On board the alien ships, chaos erupted. Crew members screamed as they saw the monstrous apparitions outside their windows. Some opened fire, blasting their own comrades in a panic. Others abandoned their posts, convinced their ships were being torn apart by supernatural forces. Zixer-7 tried to maintain order, but even he couldn't ignore the growing hysteria among his troops. "They're losing their minds," Emma reported, listening to intercepted transmissions. "Some are saying the monsters are ancient guardians protecting Earth. Others think it's a curse." Rachel smiled faintly. "Let them believe whatever they want. As long as it keeps them distracted, we're doing our job." But psychological warfare wasn't the only tool in Rachel's arsenal. While the aliens were busy fighting imaginary threats, the Eclipse struck again. This time, the target was a supply convoy carrying vital resources for the alien fleet. Using stealth tactics, the Eclipse decloaked just long enough to launch a precision attack, destroying several ships before vanishing once more. The loss of supplies hit the aliens hard. Without fuel and ammunition, some ships began to drift aimlessly, their crews stranded in the vast emptiness of space. Others turned on each other, blaming rival factions for hoarding resources or failing to protect the convoy. The unity that had once defined the alien fleet was crumbling. Back aboard the Eclipse, the crew celebrated another successful mission. Morale was high, but Rachel reminded them to stay focused. "We've made them afraid and desperate," she said, "but desperation can make enemies dangerous. Don't underestimate them." Daniel nodded thoughtfully. "Do you think they'll try to negotiate? Maybe surrender?" Rachel shook her head. "Not yet. They're too proud for that. But every strike brings us closer to breaking them completely." As the days passed, the aliens grew increasingly paranoid. Their sensors picked up phantom signals, their cameras captured fleeting glimpses of shapes that weren't there, and their communications were filled with frantic reports of sightings no one could explain. Fear had taken hold, spreading like a virus through their ranks. Rachel watched it all unfold from the safety of the Eclipse. She knew the war was far from over, but for the first time, she allowed herself to feel a flicker of hope. Humanity wasn't just surviving, it was fighting back. And with every move, the invisible warship proved that Earth wasn't as defenseless as the invaders had believed. One step at a time, Rachel whispered to herself, staring out at the stars. "We'll show them why they should have never come here." The cracks in the alien alliance were starting to show. Zixer-7 had always ruled through fear and dominance, but now his grip on the fleet was slipping. The constant attacks from the invisible human warship, the mysterious Eclipse, had left his forces scattered and demoralized. Supplies were running low, ships were damaged beyond repair, and the crew members were losing faith in their leaders' promises of victory. Rumors spread among the smaller species within the alien fleet. These species had joined the invasion out of loyalty or fear of Zixer-7's power. But now, they began to question why they had followed him into such a disastrous campaign. Whispers turned into open dissent when one faction, led by a reptilian commander named Vrax, decided it had had enough. Vrax sent a message directly to Earth, bypassing Zixer-7 entirely. "We do not wish to fight you." Vrax's voice crackled over the transmission. "Our people were forced into this war against our will. If you spare us, we will leave your system and never return." Captain Rachel Monroe listened to the message with a calm expression, her arms crossed as she leaned back in her chair. Lieutenant Daniel Hayes looked at her expectantly. "What do we do, Captain? Do we negotiate?" Rachel shook her head firmly. "No, we can't trust them. If we let them go, they'll just regroup and come back stronger. Besides, Zixer-7 would see that as weakness. He'd use it against us." Emma Carter frowned, glancing up from her console. "So, what's the plan?" Rachel leaned forward, her blue eyes sharp and focused. "We hit them. Hard. Make an example of them so no one else gets any ideas about defecting. The Eclipse moved quickly, positioning itself near the rebel faction's ships under the cover of its cloaking device. When the moment was right, Rachel gave the order to decloak. The human warship appeared suddenly, its sleek metallic hull gleaming like a blade in the darkness of space. Before the rebels could react, the Eclipse unleashed a barrage of plasma torpedoes, targeting the largest vessels in their formation. The attack was swift and merciless. Explosions lit up the void as ships broke apart, sending debris spiraling into the endless blackness. Vrax's flagship was obliterated in seconds, cutting off his desperate pleas for mercy. The remaining rebel ships tried to flee, but the Eclipse pursued them relentlessly, picking them off one by one until there was nothing left. 6-7 watched the destruction unfold from his flagship, his insectoid mandibles clicking furiously. He called an emergency meeting with his top commanders, demanding answers. Why did this happen? He roared, his voice trembling with anger. Who else is planning to betray me? His paranoia grew, feeding into harsher measures. Any alien officer suspected of disloyalty was executed immediately, their bodies jettisoned into space as a warning to others. Entire crews were purged if even a single member showed signs of dissent. Fear rippled through the fleet, but instead of uniting them under 6-7's rule, it only deepened the divisions. On board the Eclipse, Rachel monitored the chaos with quiet satisfaction. It's working, she said to Daniel. They're tearing themselves apart. Daniel nodded slowly, though unease flickered in his eyes. Do you think they'll ever surrender? Not while 6-7 is in charge, Rachel replied. He's too proud, too stubborn, but every decision he makes is pushing them closer to collapse. As the days passed, the aliens' situation worsened. Food shortages led to riots aboard some ships, while others simply shut down due to lack of fuel. Communication between vessels became sporadic, with many refusing to follow orders out of fear or distrust. 6-7's once mighty armada was unraveling before his eyes. Rachel knew the final blow would come soon. The Eclipse had proven that humanity wasn't helpless, it was relentless. She stood by the viewport, staring out at the stars, her mind already planning the next strike. They came here thinking we were weak, she murmured. Now they know better. The crew worked tirelessly around her, preparing for whatever came next. They had struck fear into the hearts of their enemies, but Rachel reminded them that the war wasn't over yet. Stay sharp, she told them. This isn't the end. It's just the beginning of the end. Desperation was etched into every decision 6-7 made now. His once unstoppable fleet was falling apart, its ships scattered and broken. Supplies were almost gone, morale was shattered, and the invisible human warship, the Eclipse, continued to strike without warning. Every attack chipped away at his authority, leaving him humiliated and enraged. He couldn't let this continue. Something had to change. 6-7 devised a plan, a trap for the elusive human ship. He ordered a convoy of supply ships to move slowly through space, broadcasting fake distress signals. The goal was simple: lure the Eclipse out of hiding by making it seem like an easy target. Once the humans revealed themselves, 6-7's main fleet would ambush them, surrounding the Eclipse and destroying it before it could escape. Captain Rachel Monroe saw right through the ruse. As soon as her crew detected the distress signals, she gathered her officers in the command center. It's a trap, she said flatly, pointing to the holographic display showing the alien ship's positions. They're trying to draw us in. Lieutenant Daniel Hayes frowned, studying the map. So what do we do? Ignore it? No, Rachel replied with a sly smile. We play along, but not the way they expect. Rachel ordered the Eclipse to send unmanned drones disguised as damaged escape pods toward the convoy. Each drone was equipped with explosive payloads hidden inside. When the aliens opened fire on the escape pods, thinking they were attacking survivors or debris. The explosives detonated, triggering a massive chain reaction. The explosions lit up space like fireworks, engulfing half the convoy in flames. Alien ships tumbled lifelessly through the void, their crews trapped inside. Panic spread across the remaining vessels as they realized they had fallen for another trick. Zixer-7 screamed in frustration, demanding answers from his subordinates. How could this happen again? He roared, slamming his claws against the console. On board the Eclipse Asterisk, the crew erupted into cheers. They had struck another blow without risking their own ship. But Rachel silenced them quickly. This isn't over, she reminded them. Zixer-7 won't give up. He'll try something even more desperate next time. As the days passed, Zixer-7 became increasingly unhinged. His commands grew erratic, often contradicting earlier orders. Some captains began ignoring him altogether, choosing instead to focus on survival. Others openly questioned his leadership, though few dared to speak out loud. The unity that had once defined the alien fleet was gone, replaced by chaos and distrust. Rachel monitored the situation closely, analyzing every piece of intercepted communication. She knew Zixer-7 wouldn't surrender. He was too proud for that. But his pride was also his weakness. He's predictable, Rachel told her crew during a briefing. He thinks he can outsmart us because he has numbers on his side. But numbers mean nothing if you don't know how to use them. Daniel nodded thoughtfully. What's our next move, Captain? We wait, Rachel replied. Let him make the first mistake. When he does, we'll be ready. The aliens' attacks on Earth slowed significantly, their resources nearly depleted. Survivors on the planet began to rebuild, taking advantage of the lull in violence. Refugees returned to their homes, salvaging what they could from the wreckage. Hope was spreading, fueled by stories of the invisible warship protecting them. But Rachel didn't let herself get distracted. She knew the aliens still posed a threat, no matter how weak they seemed. Zixer-7 was cornered, and cornered enemies were always the most dangerous. She stood by the viewport, gazing out at the stars, her mind racing with possibilities. We've pushed them to the edge, she murmured. Now it's time to push them off. The Eclipse Asterisk remained cloaked, watching and waiting. Its presence was a constant reminder to the aliens that humanity wasn't done fighting, not by a long shot. Zixer-7 was at his breaking point. His once mighty fleet was a shadow of its former self, reduced to scattered ships drifting aimlessly through space. Supplies were nearly gone, and the constant attacks from the invisible human warship, the Eclipse Asterisk, had left him humiliated and desperate. He couldn't retreat. Doing so would mean admitting defeat, something he couldn't bear as a leader. Instead, he made one last, reckless decision, a full-scale assault on Earth. Zixer-7 gathered what remained of his forces, ordering every functional ship to converge on the planet. This ends now, he declared to his crew, his voice trembling with anger and frustration. We will crush their cities, destroy their defenses, and wipe out every trace of resistance. If they want to fight, we'll give them a war they'll never forget. On board the Eclipse Asterisk, Captain Rachel Monroe watched the alien fleet assemble with quiet determination. The sensors showed dozens of ships moving toward Earth, their formations clumsy but still dangerous. Rachel knew this was the moment she had been preparing for, the final confrontation. She called her senior officers to the command center for a briefing. They're coming for us, Rachel said, pointing to the holographic display showing the advancing fleet. This is it. They've thrown everything they have left into one last attack. We can't let them reach the surface. Lieutenant Daniel Hayes frowned, studying the map. There are too many of them, Captain. Even with our cloaking technology, we can't take them all down before they hit Earth. We don't need to, Rachel replied confidently. We just need to break their momentum. Once they see the Eclipse Asterisk, they'll realize they've made a big mistake. Rachel's plan was bold. To cloak the Eclipse Asterisk directly between Earth and the alien fleet, revealing its presence for the first time in full view of both humanity and the invaders. It was a risky move, but Rachel believed it was necessary. The aliens needed to understand that humanity wasn't defenseless, and that the invisible predator hunting them was very real. As the alien ships approached Earth's atmosphere, the Eclipse shimmered into view, its sleek metallic hull glowing faintly under the light of the sun. The sheer size and power of the human warship stunned everyone who saw it, friend and foe alike. 6 or 7 froze in disbelief, staring at the massive vessel blocking his path. "This ends now," Rachel's voice boomed over an open channel, reaching not only the aliens but also the people of Earth. "Leave our system or face annihilation. You've underestimated us for the last time." The aliens hesitated, their formations faltering as confusion spread across their ranks. Some ships tried to retreat, while others opened fire on the Eclipse. But Rachel was ready. She ordered the ship's weapon systems to engage, targeting the largest vessels first. Plasma torpedoes streaked through space, striking with devastating precision. Alien ships exploded in bright flashes, their debris scattering into the void. 6 or 7 screamed orders, trying to rally his forces, but it was no use. The sight of the Eclipse had shattered whatever confidence remained in his crew. Panic took hold, and ships began fleeing in all directions, abandoning the fight. On Earth, survivors watched the battle unfold with awe and relief. The invisible protector that had haunted the aliens was finally revealed, a symbol of hope and defiance. For the first time since the invasion began, humanity truly believed they might win. Rachel stood by the viewport, watching the alien fleet fall apart. Her expression was calm, but her eyes burned with determination. "This isn't over yet," she murmured to herself, "but we've shown them what happens when you mess with Earth."